Hello, I'm Sean Lean. I'm the President of the Legislative Council in the Victorian Parliament, and I'm here to give an update of this week's parliamentary sitting. This week we started with a condolence motion for Lou Lieberman, who was a Member of Parliament from 1976 to 1992 and held several ministerial portfolios during that time. The following pieces of legislation were debated in this House and passed. The Local Government Amendment Governance Integrity Bill. This bill amends the Local Government Act 2020 in relation to governance integrity matters and makes other amendments to those pieces of legislation. Sustainable Forest Timber Repeal Bill, which this bill repeals the Sustainable Forest Timbers Act to end commercial native timber harvesting under that Act, and it also abolishes Vic Forest and provides a transfer of property rights and liabilities to the state. The third and final piece of legislation that was debated was the Victorian Responsible Gambling Foundation Repeal and Advisory Council's Bill. This bill abolishes the Victorian Responsible Gambling Ministerial Advisory Council and the Liquor Control Advisory Council, and establishes the Gambling Harm Response Fund, which will provide additional functions to the Victorian Gambling and Casino Control Commission. These bills, as I said, all passed through this chamber. They all went through committee stages where every clause can be examined by any member of this Parliament. Two of the pieces of legislation passed, but they were amended, so the amendment shows that this chamber's doing its work in scrutinising legislation. There was debates outside of legislation in this chamber around energy, around trade unions, housing developments, and also insurance claims, amongst other things. And the MPs in the House always passionately debate all of these type of items, and it's great that there's different topics nearly every week. Outside this chamber, we were very lucky to have a visit from the Speaker from the Fiji Parliament. Victorian Parliament has a great relationship with the Parliament of Fiji, and a number of MPs and officials from the Fiji Parliament visit us quite regularly for us to assist them and understand how we do things in our Parliament. And I've got to say, we also learn from them as well about how they go about their Parliament as well. There was a couple other events. There was the Footy for Climate event, where a couple of AFL players that are inspired by climate action have formed a group advocating for more activities around how to mitigate climate change. There was also what was called the Great Debate, and on Thursday night, the Victorian Lions Club held an event where there was a debate, politicians versus media, which was adjudicated by ABC breakfast presenter Sammy J. And it was a great event to support Victorian Lions Club, who we know does great work. It's going to be a few weeks before we sit again, but I will update you on the activities. There is a couple of pieces of legislations that came from the Assembly that we will be debating no doubt in the next sitting week. The Justice Legislation Amendment, and also the Parliamentary Workplace Standards and Integrity Bill. But I look forward to giving you an update on the passage of those bills and other activities after the next sitting week.